All right, this Saturday, Brian Norman Jr. faces off against Derrieck Cueveas.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with Derrieck Cueveas. I watched like a fight or two. Junior's coming off a little bit of a layoff. I think he's coming off of a hand injury. Yeah. This is supposed to be him testing out the hand.
Right.
What's your thoughts on the fight?
I don't know too much about Cueveas, to be honest. And from what I'm understanding, he hasn't been in the ring as of recent. I think it's been like almost 2 years, right? Something like that.
Maybe like a year and some change. Remember, the fight was supposed to happen, like last year, right? November. Yeah. It was supposed to happen in the fall.
So I think, man, we was talking about it a little bit.
Was it February? I don't know. I know it was supposed to happen. It got pushed back a couple of months.
Yeah. We was talking about it a little bit earlier. And one thing you said is when a guy been off, it's a good thing or a bad thing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And I think that's true. Sometimes you might get the proper rest, or sometimes you've been bullshitting while you was off. We won't find out till fight night. But I feel like it's a lot of pressure on Norman only because he already not being treated like a champion. The reason I'm saying that, he's the I think the co-main event under Michaela Mayer.
Yeah.
So, and the fight is not in his hometown, things like that. I think he should have got a fight in Atlanta, but who am I? With that being said, though, the pressure's on him because he has to perform. He has to go out there and not just win. He got to look good because, the people want to see the fights with Boots or the fight with what's my man name? The other champion at WBC.
Barrios, Stadium. He's in the mix, kind of. Then he's in the mix with all those guys.
He in a good mix. So, and people want to see who's the man of that weight class. You know what I mean? After Spence and Bud and them leaving and all that, Thurman and Porter retiring. All right, we got a new cast of guys. Who's the man? You know what I'm saying? He's one of the guys that's holding the belts. So we gotta see. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it's a little bit of pressure there. But I don't know. I think Norman will do pretty good. When I seen him down the land and when I was down there for the fights, he was in good shape then. So I would imagine he's in some pretty great shape now. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think he'll do what he got to do.
Here's my beef with the situation. And Top Rank does an excellent job, probably the best job of building prospects into contenders and world champions.
Yeah.
Yo, he's in a popping division, right?
Right.
Right, so you got him, you got Boots, you got Stanionis, you got Barrios. But also you got the 35s that started their career at 35s who are superstars moving up to 47, right? So now you got Dev, you got Ryan, you got Teofimo Lopez. So now the division is just full of intriguing matchups.
Yeah.
Since when don't an undefeated world champion get a hometown fight? Like, you don't even know if he can draw or not because you're not giving him the fucking opportunity to.
Yeah. And I don't know what that is, but Keyshawn got to go home.
Right? Before he won his world title.
So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel kind of bad for the kid for that part. You know what I mean? For the fact that he not being celebrated enough in Atlanta, where he's from. But I think if you brought a main event down there for a title, I think the people would come out.
I feel like he should get his flowers in the sense of give him a hometown fight. Let him get a big knockout. Let's get the people going. Let's get the people energized before you bring a big fight that he could put. Like, yo, all those champions, those are good 50-50 fights. If he fights Dev, that's a 50-50 fight. If he fights Tio, I don't think that's 50-50, but if he fights Conor Ben, those are all good fights. Mario Barrios. Don't let Atlanta's first chance of looking at him could be with a loss. What does he have to do to be successful on Saturday?
Just one thing, one of my beefs with Brian Norman's style, sometimes he jump into shots and be getting headbutted and shit like that, be getting cut open. Once a guy get cut, it's kind of like, that can happen. I want to see him just be a little bit more cleaner, just box a little bit more. I think he'll be successful if he boxes a little bit more. Every round don't have to be a rough and tough round. You You know what I mean? I think if he do that, I think he'll be okay.
Does he have to look spectacular, being that there are other fights, other marquee fights that people want to see him in?
I think so, because his father's been campaigning for him, doing a good job campaigning for him, making sure we know his name. You know what I mean? But we need something to go behind that. It's like if you get a bag of chips or a candy wrapper or something like that. It's real nice candy wrapper, but then the candy not that good. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. I'm not saying that's what he is, but I'm saying that's what it appears. If he don't go out there and put on the show.
Move with a GH.
Yes, sir. Hood vlogs. Take y'all down the way.
All right.
Show you what it's hitting for.
Yo, so Devin Haney, I saw Devin Haney and Gabe get into it.
Yeah.
And then I saw Bill and Gabe get into it on the Boxing Voice.
Yeah.
What'd you make of the whole thing, yo?
From my understanding, it came from Gabe breaking down the fight with him and what's his name?
Jose
Ramirez. And Gabe basically saying that he think that was the wrong guy to choose for a comeback fight. Fair, that's just his assessment. You know what I mean? That don't mean that it's true. The way Dev responded, I don't agree with, because go in there and show and prove. You know what I mean? If you go in there and do what you gotta do, that what he said will never matter. But then they had like a little back and forth on Twitter a little bit, but then Bill got on the John Woody with Gabe. I guess they was on, what was that?
The Boxing Voice.
Boxing Voice, they was on there, and you know, they going back and forth. And I felt like the little bit I heard about Bill saying, you know, that's because your father ain't in your life and things like that, I felt like that was unnecessary. I felt like that was kind of crazy. I mean, I don't know. I ain't really like how that went. I felt like that was kind of like, Gabe got a totally different career. Gabe started boxing at 18, turned pro after 11 fights. Gabe was just learning on the job. So Gabe's career was supposed to go that way when you go about it that way. You know what I'm saying? Which he wasn't supposed to make it that far. That's what people don't understand about Gabe. Gabe actually turned nothing into something. That's hard to do. Now, when you got guys around you who know the business and your father's helping and he know the business and he got the money to fund the opponents and things like that, it's different. And, you know, Devin Haney is a great fighter and Gabe Rosado is a great fighter. But I don't think trying to kick a man about not being champion and all that, I don't think that's like cool, because it's like it was a totally different situation. I can't judge a man for how he lived, you know what I mean, if I haven't lived in his shoes. And I think it's a lot of that going on out here. You know what I mean? People judging and saying how somebody living ain't right, or they ain't got money, or this and that. It's like, bro, you don't understand what nobody went through, so how can you speak like that? That part of it I didn't like. You know what I mean? I didn't think that was cool.
For me, I didn't like none of it, right? I felt like Dev was wrong with how he reacted to Jose to Gabe analyzing the Jose Ramirez fight. It's a tough fight.
Yeah.
And you Devin Haney, you take tough fights, right? So it is a tough, dangerous fight, and if you win, you're going to get all the credit that you deserve in my book, right?
Yeah.
I didn't like what Bill said. I thought it was unnecessary to make it personal, but I also didn't like what Gabe said after the interaction with Dev, calling him a pussy for suing and this and that. Like, other fighters have sued other fighters. Gabe wouldn't call Steve Cunningham a pussy. He wouldn't call Floyd Mayweather a pussy. Don't call Dev a pussy.
Yeah.
There's a difference between an actual fight, like suing somebody for getting into a fight on the streets, as opposed to suing somebody for violating the terms of an agreement that terms of a contract.
Yeah.
It's two completely different things. He's not a pussy for that, though.
Yeah. And I think Gabe probably was just mad at that point. I mean, mad that, see, it's one thing when a fighter going at you, but when somebody dad going at you that didn't fight, that's kind of like, oh, hey, what you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? You never been through none of this. Everything that you saying or talking about, his son was champion. He wasn't champion. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, I think when Gabe started talking like that, Gabe might have just been mad. Like, man, you a pussy. You suing motherfuckers for beating you up. Even though we know it was a lot more, involved. But, overall, I ain't like it just because there was a lot of unnecessary shit that was being said. And I feel like we can't get nowhere when it's like that. When we just talking shit, like we not getting nowhere.
Now it becomes personal.
Yeah.
Last part, I don't like to be critical with too many things. I fucks with Bill, fucks with Gabe, I fucks with Dev.
Right.
In that situation, I don't think Dev needed no backup.
Right.
Like, it was two fighters talking shit. If it go any further than that, which I doubt it, they two fighters.
Right.
They can handle that. Like, Dev's a man.
Right.
Dev's a man now, and Dev can fight his own battles.
Right. And that's the thing, right? These old heads that's in the game with their sons, a lot of them realizes that they raised their sons to be good kids. So whenever they are up against something real or something that's threatening, they step in. But he a grown man, so you gotta let him be a grown man. You know what I'm saying? Whatever he say and do, he gotta take what come with it. We all know that. That's what come with being a grown man. So I don't like that part where it's always like you gotta jump in and, I mean, that's how your son felt. He said some cool shit. Gabe said some cool shit back. That's all it was. It wasn't gonna go no further. It wasn't gonna go in. I only step in for my sons, and my sons is still young boys. My sons is 18 and 14. But I only step in with them when somebody start talking about violence. When you start talking about violence, then I'm stepping in. Because all that other shit is kid shit. You know what I'm saying? But if a motherfucker start talking about hurting my sons, then that's when you got a problem with me. But everybody is different. You know what I mean? And I feel like Bill probably being a father, you know what I mean? You got to be there for your kids. That's true. But I think the fact that Bill tried to throw that in Gabe's face, like, oh, your father wasn't there, you was a bastard, all this, like, that's kind of crazy. Like, you know what I mean? To say stuff like that because you know you're a great father. But if you know you're a great father, be a great father. You know what I mean? That's sick. You don't got to do nothing else.
I feel like Bill's a great father. He got to trust in his fathering. Like, and I'm speaking as a son.
Right.
My pop at times wanted to micromanage. Just like, yo, trust that you gave me everything that I needed. I got it.
Right.
Like, I remember everything you taught me. If I need a consultation, I'll get one.
Right. Real shit. I just hope, you know what I mean, it don't go no further because it don't need.
Definitely don't need to.
Yeah.
Especially over just an opinion about a fight.
And all right, and I'm glad we're talking about this because what bothers me about fighters getting mad about fighters making an opinion. How can you get mad at a fighter for making an opinion, but then you don't get mad at Mark Kriegel? You don't get mad at Teddy Atlas. You don't get mad at, you know what I mean, what's the other guy? There's a bunch of them that be talking. How come y'all don't get mad at them guys? How come y'all don't talk shit to them? Bill did his part checking one of the commentators at the press conference. Cool. But the fighters, how come y'all so quick to get mad at the fighters and coaches, but y'all don't get mad at these dudes that never ever laced up a pair of gloves? You know what I mean?
Dudes get mad at me though.
Yeah.
And I ain't got no fights yet. So, but I feel you. I agree.
Right. I just think that part is crazy. You know what I mean? Because it's like, as long as they saying it, all right, I ain't worried about it, but I think it's based off of who knows who. You know what I mean? If you ask who knows Gabe Rosado compared to a Mark Kriegel, most people know Gabe Rosado. So I think it's based off of that.
I mean, they do. Gabe Rosado's been in fucking movies, so.
Yeah. I think it's based off of that.
Tevin Farmer, William Zepeda, rematch.
Yeah.
How you feeling about it?
I feel good, man. I think Tev would be even better this fight. The reason being because Tev was fighting at a smaller tier, fighting at home, just getting his gears back on. Got in there with Miratala, you know what I mean? Got edged out by Miratala, but then the Zepeda fight, I felt like he was definitely ready. But it's something happens to you when you get to see those levels again. You know what I'm saying? Especially being a guy that was already on that level. But when you not fell off, but when you stop fighting for a while, time go by, I mean, you get a little rusty. came back, he got to see that level. But being in there with Zepeda already one time, and then immediately getting back in there with the rematch, I think it's going to be even better for him. I think we see a better Tevin Farmer that night, and this time he get the call. I'm being honest, not being biased. I'm being honest because we seen what he did in the first fight. You know what I mean? Now, there were some spots where Zepeda was allowed to do a little bit too much, and I feel like Tev will see that, has seen that once he looked back at the fight. You know, there were spots where he let him do too much, and he gonna take that away from him this fight and put a little bit more on Zepeda this time. Great fight though. I love the first fight, and then, you know, I think this one will be even better.
What does Tev have to do to win?
Tev just got to keep it clean. What I mean by keep it clean is every time you exchange with him, don't let him continue to get off. Like, don't let him go to your body and you shell up, or he start throwing up top and you shell up, and let him get the shots off. When you exchange your shots, when you let your shots go, get out of there when you're done. You know what I mean? And when you go to the body a little bit more, things like that, I think he'll pull it off. I think he and give us more of that straight left hand. The shot that put him down the first fight, the straight left hand was the shot off the roll. You know what I mean? Give us more of that. We need more of that. You know what I mean?
What kind of Zepeda are you expecting?
I think Zepeda will probably be in better shape and probably be pushing a lot more. I think he'll try to knock Tev out this fight. I think he's gonna try early, and he's gonna go right at Tev. Because he know if he go the distance, it might get bad for him.
Dude, pace is incredible.
Yeah, he a beast. But I love this fight. The style matchup is crazy. You know what I mean? And Tev definitely showed that he got more left in the tank, so it's gonna be a good jump.